1871 AD, 5765 AM. Prime Minister Otto von Bismarck, known as the Iron Chancellor of Germany, unifies the nation and instigates a series of victories against the French, against Denmark and Austria, and proclaims a German empire. The Franco-Prussian War ends and the communists in Paris set up the Commune of Paris and held the government for 2 months before they were crushed, 20,000 people dying in the conflict. This was the first communist revolution in history, a doctrine created by Jews, but many would follow. The Illuminati agent Albert Pike, an American general, completes his blueprint for 3 world wars that would result with the one world government the Rothschilds sought to create. The World War is to change the government of Russia, which was done in 1917 with the Jewish Bolshevik Revolution. The Second World War is to change the government of Germany and cripple the might of England, which was done brilliantly when the World Jewish Congress declared war on Germany in 1938. The Third World War is to be fought against Islamic nations. A huge fireball was seen in the sky over Chicago, just prior to the Great Fire of Chicago. Fires were started in the countryside in the surrounding counties around the city, and astronomers Hind and Denning in November saw a large object pass over the surface of the sun. Aggravated by gale-force winds, the city of Chicago burned with a fiery tornado that even burned granite, marble and iron. Antonio Meucci invented the telephone 5 years before Bell in America independently did so, but Bell was traditionally recognized for the discovery. Heinrich Schliemann began excavating the ruins of Hisarlik in Turkey, a location he believed was the ancient ruins of Troy. Though scholars believe the site is correct, it is generally believed now that Schliemann dug through the actual strata of the Homeric Troy into older levels of the city. The French relinquished the provinces of Alsace and Lorraine to the Germans. Excluding Austria, all of Germany was united into an empire. Known as the Pax Germania, this would last about 43 years to World War I. Bishop Spotswood revealed the intensity of the Catholic animosity for Protestants in America when he openly declared, quote, "I would rather a half of the people of this nation, America, should be brought to the stake and burned, than one man should read the Bible and form his judgments from its contents," unquote. 1 March of the Titans, 2 Synagogue of Satan, 3 Book of the Damned, 4 Cataclysm, 5 Popery, foe of the Church. 1872 AD, 5766 AM. Queen Victoria of Britain officially assumed the title of Empress of India. This parallels the political situation in 1872 BC, when the Chedorlaomer of Elam, Harappan Valley, northern India, subdued the western powers of the world at the time, Babylonia, Anatolia and Canaan. The Mary Celeste, a half-brig vessel, sailed from New York toward Genoa, but was found drifting in the Atlantic by another ship, all of its passengers having vanished with the crew. The city of Boston burned in a fire. About 1,000 buildings were ruined. Wayman Dixon discovered the sealed-off ventilation shaft of the Queen's chamber after pushing a wire into a crack for a considerable distance. George Smith, born 1840, the year cuneiform was deciphered, a self-taught translator of ancient cuneiform writings, having never attended high school or college, spent time in the British Museum translating the ancient Babylonian and Assyrian tablets. He translated the Epic of Gilgamesh, which concerned Nimrod, who was subdued by Chedorlaomer in 1872. The epic concerned the flood and Noah, and created a media sensation in England. Smith went on to become a lead archaeologist in expeditions to the Middle East, to discover a missing fragment of the epic as well as other texts and artefacts, writing a series of academic works on Assyrio-Babylonian history. It is interesting to note that in 1872, the officially written language internationally was cuneiform. Hotchkiss of the USA invented the improved machine gun. A brilliant November meteor shower exhibited over 150,000 shooting stars within a 6-hour period, believed to be the remnants of Comet Biela. 1872 BC was the last year Chedorlaomer exercised dominion over Nimrod. Mount Vesuvius erupted in Italy. An earthquake caused loss of life in California. 1. The Great Pyramid, Smythe. 2. The complete story of the San Francisco Horror. 1873 AD, 5767 AM. Heinrich Schliemann discovered the ruins of Troy in Asia Minor, finding many artifacts in this year. Schliemann was made famous for the discoveries. However, he was not the first to think that the mound at Hissarlik was the ruins of Troy. In 1822, a Charles Maclaren had already thought that this was the location of Homer's Troy. 1. The Wars of Gods and Men, Sitchin. 1874 AD, 5768 AM. 3 distinct earthquake shocks were felt at Cairo, Egypt, just miles away from the Great Pyramid. All 3 occurred during the transit of Venus. Astronomers watching the planet traversed the disk of the Sun through their telescopes. Due to the placement of a black federal army in New Orleans, who were decidedly in favour of local blacks in the city's disputes, 3,500 white men, KKK and the White League, rioted and took over the city of New Orleans. They were later driven off by federal forces. White Southerners were livid with the federal government's handling of the Reconstruction, when blacks were given all the financial and aid advantages and whites were losing their properties. 1. The Great Pyramid, Smythe. 2. March of the Titans.